Hi there, welcome to my channel Chill and Drill. I'm Tree. Yeah, like the plant. I thought I would take this opportunity to introduce myself to you. I normally do time lapses of my diamond paintings with some calm music playing over them for people to relax to and to watch my progress and canvases in a chilled way. But today I thought I'd do a voiceover so that people could get to know me. So, the basics of me. I'm called Katrina, but I normally go by Tree or Trina. I'm 27 and I live in Liverpool, England. You may know it because of the Liverbirds, or our two football teams, Liverpool and Everton, or our two cathedrals, or because of the Beatles. I was born and raised here. I even went to university twice and got my BA in creative writing and MA in screenwriting here. I currently work in Liverpool for a local charity that supports our local community and many vulnerable adults and children. I lay out and design books for these communities, and I'm happy to say I've done over 60 in the last 4 years. I also live at home with my mum, who I help care for. She's like a best friend to my sister and I can't imagine anyone better to have spent my lockdown with. My dad's from London, but has lived in Liverpool for years. He's a complete prankster. When we were younger, he would actually permanent marker moustaches on our faces. We always tried to get him back with eggs in his shoes, but it never worked. My older sister is the main reason I craft. She took me on trips to our local craft store as a child, and I always had knitting and stitching around the house to do. We still craft together years later. I pay her back now with as many diamond paintings as she needs. Well, more than she needs. And when we aren't stuck in the house in quarantine apart, we normally would spend weekends playing video games or crafting together. So, my hobbies. Obviously, I love to diamond paint. It's my favourite hobby by far. I also do some cross-stitching. I like to build miniature houses, and I sometimes do some adult colouring too. I got a lot of knitting stuff for Christmas too, so stay tuned as I hopefully learn how to knit again. Most of my crafts end up on my Instagram or my TikTok pages, which are linked below if you want to follow my journey on those projects. Like I said, I love to diamond paint, and that, at the moment anyway, will be what's on this channel. I started diamond painting in October 2018 after seeing an advert on Facebook for months. I decided to check Amazon, which to my surprise had diamond paintings, and it was here the next day, so the obsession began. I finished 26 diamond paintings to date and currently have 45 saved away in my stash, and 3 unfinished, somewhat abandoned paintings. I prefer to work on square drill paintings. I find the concentration needed to get the drills perfectly aligned helps to relax and clear my mind. My favourite storage for my drills, and I've tried a lot so far, are the screw top bottles that usually come in a case. I like that I don't have to worry about them spilling out if they drop, and it's nice for taking to my friend's or my aunt's house. I definitely enjoy the opaque covers on my canvases. I have a habit of travel placing across the canvas if I can see the drills in other areas of it. So luckily the opaque covers will stop that, and I found those on Amazon, so I just replace out my clear sheets on most of my canvases with that. As for trays, I typically use the large white boat with a spout. They feel easier for me to multi-place, and the spout helps me pour my drills back into the bottles. The light box I use is an A2 light box. It's a little large, but I find it perfect to use on my lap, and it's great for my larger paintings. My green pen here is from Jay's Hand-Turned Crafts on Etsy. It's a nice weight and is easy to use. I also have a few acrylic pens from Amazon and some from Diamond Art Club that are on the way. The wax I use in my single placer is Paddy Wax Super Sticky. I really like the popping noise it gives and how long I can make it last. For my multi-placer, I use just standard pink wax, which I feel works fine. My favourite company to buy from is Diamond Art Club. I like their canvases, the drills, and I love their artwork. My favourite artists are Randal Spangler, who doesn't love those little dragons. I'm excited to reach this one on Flight of the Fireflies and get to do another that I have upstairs. I own all of them, so if there's one that you would like to see me do a time-lapse of, comment down below and let me know. I also love Bailey J's artworks too, and have a couple of those up here that are on my list to do too. So, my current work's in progress. I'm working on this diamond painting by Randal Spangler, Flight of the Fireflies. I'm really enjoying doing it, and I'm really excited to see the little dragon at the end. I'm also in the middle of cross-stitching an Aurora from Sleeping Beauty Cross Stitch, which is her head and the silhouette of her and Philip and the 3 fairies. I bought it on Etsy, and I've got a whole set of those, which I'm looking forward to getting onto doing. I'm making a miniature office at the moment, which is currently just missing some books and its dust cover, so hopefully I'll get around to doing that. And I've started a huge 120 by 160 Disney mosaic diamond painting this year, which I think is going to take a very long time for me to complete, but I've set myself the goal of finishing it character by character instead of as an overall image, so each little character I complete will be a feat in itself. I still haven't finished one, but that's besides the point. And I've also got a small Maleficent painting, which is 20 by 25 in my work desk that I would normally do during my lunch break, as I have anxiety and struggle to eat around everybody else. So this is obviously on hold at the moment until my work is allowed to return back to work and we're no longer working from home. So for 2021, what were my goals? I want to finish 5 craft projects. It feels a little small to me, given that I've just done a 40 by 50 in the space of about a week. So I may adjust it a little and see how many I do from there once I've hit the 5 and up it to maybe 10 or 15. But we'll play it by ear on that. My other goal this year is to finish turning our spare bedroom into a craft room. There's a lot of stuff in there to go through. Everyone has that one room where you end up putting things and forgetting completely about them until it builds up into a huge problem. So I need to go through a lot of stuff in there, like old toys, old teddy bears, cushions, DVDs, books, a lot of stuff, and decide what's going to be able to donate or be thrown away if it is not usable anymore, before I can then clear everything out, build the desk I've just gotten for Christmas, a beautiful black drafting table, and the box shelves that I would like to be able to put on the wall that I can put my crafts into and display some of my miniatures and things like that. So I hopefully will be able to share some images of that on my Instagram by 2022. So anything I've spoken about here today will be linked down below in the description box. If I do forget, don't hesitate to just ask me, especially if you're in the UK, as obviously I am, so anything I've found I'm more than happy to link you to and let you know any information such as customs charges or anything else I've had to pay on these items if you are worried about it. For now, what I was going to do is get into a bit more of a YouTuber tag. So let's get to it. Question 1, what's your full name? So my full name is Katrina Elizabeth Chantel. Question 2 is, what does your name mean? So Katrina means pure. I don't know about Elizabeth and Chantel. I haven't actually looked them up. So if you just give me a second and let me look those up. So Elizabeth means God is my abundance, and Chantel means stone or boulder, which I didn't know until this very moment. Question 3, are you named after anyone? So Katrina is my aunt's middle name, which is what I'm named after. Elizabeth is after my godmother, and Chantel is a name that my dad heard in the park when taking my older sister out, and he liked the name. My mum didn't so much, so it got put in as a middle name. Question 4, does your name make any interesting anagrams? I mean, other than Keck, not really, K-E-C, not really one there. Question 5, if you had to change your first name, what would you change it to? I'm not too sure. I went through a phase of really liking the name Autumn when I was a teenager, but I don't really think that would suit me. If my mum were to name me something else, it was going to be Charlotte, because she really liked the name Lottie, but that never worked out. I don't think I'd suit anything other than Katrina though, so probably nothing else would be changed for it anyway. Question 6, where are you from? So obviously I'm from Liverpool. Question 7 is, where were you born? Liverpool. And question 8, where did you grow up? Liverpool. Who did you look up to growing up is question 9. I have my granddad, who is from Barbados, and he is an absolute inspiration in my life. I love him in every sense of the word. He even at an older age, got up every morning to take children to school who didn't have people to take them to school. He volunteered to do that. And as a result of that, he also took all of us to school as well. And he took me to school up until I was in university. Like, I was in the middle of university and he still took me every day. I didn't have the heart to tell him no. And who's going to say no to a free ride? But he always said it was the highlight of his day. And it was the highlight of mine getting to see him every single day. Obviously, due to lockdown, we haven't gotten to see him this much this year. But hopefully next year we'll be able to spend all of our moments that we can with him. Question 10. What are your best characteristics? I don't think I'm the best place to answer that one. So I don't know. I'm not too sure. I guess I'm a good listener. I'm very organised. Like, probably problematically organised, but I don't see it as a problem. I like things to be in a very structured way, and that's just me. Question 11. What are your favourite things about yourself? Another one I'm not too sure on how to answer. I do like that I'm really organised. I think that is a good thing to like. I think I might be pretty generous. I like to make sure other people are enjoying what they're doing too, and if they're not, help them out in a generous way. Question 12. Which of your parents are you closest to? It's a pretty difficult question. My sister and I always have a joke that she's my mum's favourite and I'm my dad's favourite. Obviously, my mum and dad will deny that, but, you know, it's hard to say. I love my mum with all my heart, but I love my dad with all my heart too, and I couldn't pick which one. I'd probably be closest to my mum just because I live with her constantly, but I idolise my dad. 13. Which of your parents are you more like? Well, I look more like my dad, and he says I have a peanut head like him, so I've got a small head. I'm not sure. I don't think I've got the same gumption that my mum's got, so probably more like my dad. 14. Are your grandparents still married? Unfortunately, I've only got one grandparent left. My other 3 grandparents are all passed away, so technically, no, they're not married anymore. 15. What relative was most important to you growing up and why? Depends really. Other than my granddad and obviously my mum and dad, I've got my older sister who's 5 years older than me, and she is my biggest influence. I think I've always been able to look up to someone and aspire to be like her. She's so kind-hearted and really full of love and happiness and laughter, and I'm the polar opposite. Like, I'm not going to lie, but being able to look up to her and always aspire to be like her has definitely made me who I am today. So probably her. Question 16. What's the one thing you've never revealed to your parents? I'm not sure. We're pretty open in this family, so it's pretty hard to not have anything you haven't revealed to your parents. Like, anything is a conversation in this house. Nothing is off topic. So there isn't really anything. I've probably, drawn something or whatever. I have no idea what the answer would be to that one. 17. What would your parents have named you if you were the opposite gender? So they wanted to call me Kieran Fitzgerald James, Kieran with a K. Obviously, I'm Katrina with a K. My sister is Cassandra with a K. And to keep in with that theme, it would have been Kieran with a K. 18. What do you call your grandparents? So I've got my granddad, who I just call Grandad, my nanny June and my nanny Margaret, all 3 have passed away, and then my granddie, who is my granddad from Barbados, who is still alive, and we look after him and he's doing well. 19. What's your best physical feature? My eyes, I guess. They're big. I don't know. 20. What's your biggest accomplishment? I'm pretty sure it's probably my masters, which was hard work, but really nice to finally get and to say I've got. I like to do that. 21. What's your biggest fear? Well, other than spiders, heights, and people in costumes, my biggest, more irrational fear is staircases. I don't like staircases with like gaps in the back where they haven't got a back to them, because I always imagine people can grab you through them, and my nan had them in her house and it terrified me. So I don't like staircases. Question 22. What is your biggest regret? Probably not spending as much time as I could have with my friends before this year happened, but I think that's everyone's at the moment. Now we're in lockdown. 23. What's your eye colour? My eyes are brown. 24. What inspires you? Just making sure I'm a good role model, I think. Getting to see other people be good role models and then trying to make sure that I follow in that footstep. Question 25. What's the most important thing in your life? My family. Always will be. Never going to change. 26. What has required the most courage of you in your life so far? Well, we went to Italy once. It's probably really stupid. And there was a roller coaster, and I don't like heights. And it took you all the way to the top and then dropped you, and you like slid down to the bottom. And it took me all day to convince myself to go on it. And I didn't want to go on it. I was terrified. There's this video of me just screaming at the top when it finally dropped. But I managed to do it. And I like knowing that I've managed to get over that hurdle. 27. Who's your favourite actor? I've got a lot. It's hard to pick one or two. Like, it really depends on what thing I'm watching at the moment. Like, I like Megan O'Ree from Once Upon a Time. I like China McClain from Black Lightning. It's hard to say. Like Robert Downey Jr. I like from Avengers. It just depends on what I'm in love with at that moment in time. And 28 was who your favourite actress, so covered that one too. 29, who's your favourite celebrity? Aren't they I'd say they're the same. I don't know. It's hard to... I can't think of just a celebrity icon themselves, so I'm not sure. 30, who's your favourite musician? I don't have a specific musician. I like Five for Fighting as a band that I really like. I also really like Mumford and Sons, so that kind of thing. 31, who's your favourite person in the world? I wouldn't be able to pick. I've got so many favourite people. 32, what's your favourite childhood memory? It's probably every time that we knew we had to get up in the morning to check ourselves in the mirror for a moustache, if I'm not going to lie. There was also a time where we were so scared of my dad drawing moustaches on us that I'd gone to sleep with a skipping rope tied around my wrist and tied around the door while we were on holiday in our caravan, so that if he'd opened the door, it would wake me up by pulling my wrist. Obviously, learned the trick of taking it off of the handle before it even pulled me, but I was about 8 and I had no idea that he'd figured that out. But we used to have a lot of family holidays that were just really full of fun, so all of those. 33, what's your favourite colour? It's normally green. However, during lockdown, it's steadily changed back to pink, I think. Like more of a pastel, rose goldy sometimes pink. But I also do like fresh spring green. It's really pretty. It's refreshing. It's nice to just be around. 34, what's your favourite cultural activity? So my sister and I signed up for the gym quite a few years ago now, and we really enjoyed getting to go and do Tai Chi together, which is something that we should both get back into, but unfortunately I'd developed plantar fasciitis, which is a foot ailment where I got pain in my feet and I couldn't go to the gym for a while. But hopefully now that's starting to settle down, we'll be able to go back and do that again. Question 35, what's your favourite drink? I'm British. It's got to be tea. 36, what's your favourite fairy tale? I want to say Sleeping Beauty, however, I have always loved the story of Hansel and Gretel. I think the fascination of a house made of sweets has always taken me, and the witch was always terrifying to me. So I love Hansel and Gretel as a story. 37, what's your favourite food? Well, normally it's something like chips, but our favourite food since we were growing up was just mash, just a plain bowl of mash. Every time we were sick, and my sister and I were sick quite often when we were younger, and still are usually. But we would just have a bowl of mash, and it was just warm and comforting, and it just reminds us of home. 38. What's your favourite holiday destination? So, obviously, I haven't really ventured that far in the world. I've been to Italy with my friends, but my favourite one has to just be our caravan in Wales that we go to. I absolutely love that. There's nothing better that screams holiday to me. Obviously, because my mum is so sick now, we can't get on an aeroplane to take her anywhere. Though we were looking forward to a cruise this year. Unfortunately, that's been cancelled, obviously, with COVID. So hopefully we'll be able to enjoy that. But basically, our caravan in Wales is where we always go, year after year, without fail. And we just love it. It's nice family holiday times. 39. What's your favourite ice cream flavour? Either cookie dough or mint. Probably vanilla on its own. Yeah. 40. What's your favourite music genre? I like indie music sometimes, I guess. 41. What's your favourite physical activity? I like riding a bike. I don't like riding out in public. I'm terrified of people running me over. But in the gym, like, my favourite bit of equipment to just sit on for hours on end is just sitting on the bike and listening to an audiobook. So that's what I like to do. 42. What's your favourite quote? So my favourite quote is by G.K. Charleston, and it's, "Fairy tales do not tell children the dragons exist. Children already know the dragons exist. Fairy tales tell children the dragons can be killed." I think it was from a Criminal Minds episode when I first heard it, and I fell in love with it, and yeah, it's been my favourite quote since then, really. 43. What's your favourite snack? I don't know. If you ask my mum, it'll change every week when she's trying to figure out the shopping. Literally, it could change every week. One minute it might be Pop-Tarts, the next it might be a certain type of crisps. It's really hard to pick one. I don't know. 44. What's your favourite song? So my favourite song is The Riddle by Five for Fighting. It was also a Criminal Minds episode. I think I must have gone through that phase when I was a teenager where I was just obsessed with it. But it's been a song that's stuck with me ever since, and I've just really liked the lyricism and the tune to it. 45. What's your favourite sport? I'm honestly not sure I have one. I mean, ice skating counts. Ice skating's a beautiful sport. Every year my sister and I will get together to watch Dancing on Ice. So we might have to do that via Zoom this year. And we really love watching like ice skating at the Olympics and things. It's a very beautiful sport. 46. What's your favourite time of the day? Probably about 5 a.m. I'm saying this as I'm recording at 7 in the morning after I haven't been to sleep yet. I'm a night owl. I can't help but be a night owl. Nothing seems to work in my brain before like 10 at night, even if I've been up all day. So things usually tend to inspire me at 5 a.m. for some reason, just to make my life all the worse. I can't get up at 5 a.m. though. It has to be running through to 5. It can't be if I get up at 4. It doesn't work like that. 47. What's your favourite type of clothing? I like a hoodie. I think everyone likes a hoodie. Just warm, comforting, or just a simple t-shirt. I have a lot of Hocus Pocus themed t-shirts. This hasn't asked me what my favourite movie is yet, but my favourite film of all time is Hocus Pocus. I will watch it at any point when I'm sick. I will watch it 2 or 3 times a month. It doesn't matter if it's October or not. I can say it line for line. It's a masterpiece and I just love it. So I've got some cover minders that are Hocus Pocus themed and they're my favourites. So 48. What's your favourite way to pass time? Probably diamond painting. I think diamond painting is one of the best ways for me to do that. Sometimes I'll write. Sometimes, like everybody else, you'll sing or you'll watch some TV or movies. But more often than not, you'll find me diamond painting. 49. What is the name of your favourite restaurant? I've really missed this year going to Yo Sushi. It's another thing my sister and I will do together. And with her boyfriend, we would just go out to Yo Sushi and go to the cinema and go shopping together. So I really like going to Yo Sushi. 50. What's your all-time favourite town or city and why? I love Edinburgh in Scotland. I got to visit it with my sister when I was 16 for my 16th birthday, but my mum sent me on a bunch of ghost tours because they thought I'd really like that, because I'm obsessed with ghost TV shows. Like, we have watched a lot of them on Discovery Plus the past few weeks over the Christmas break, but it absolutely terrified me. We went down into the tunnels, I panicked and I couldn't stay down there. I do not like ghosts at all. Not in a real life anyway. Like, watching it is different to living it. However, the rest of Edinburgh was absolutely beautiful, and it is a lovely little city, and honestly I can't wait to go back there one day. 51. What's your favourite candle scent? I think the candles I'm using at the minute are vanilla and magnolia, which I really like. They're just from Tesco and they last a very long while. And anything vanilla is what I like, really. It's either vanilla or lavender scents that I like in our house. Obviously, around Christmas we put pine up because we used to have a real Christmas tree, so it brings that back for us. But me and my sister will get migraines from very bad scents, so something sort of like a vanilla or a lavender is usually what I'd prefer. 52. What's your favourite social media channel? Is it really bad? I want to say Tumblr. I'm still in that phase where I'm half on Tumblr, half on Twitter, and sort of on Instagram. Don't go on Facebook as much. And I can't really be convinced that much by TikTok. I'll scroll for hours, but I can't really post on it. Like, I get very distracted very easily on it, so I don't really like it. So it's probably... I don't use Twitter that much either. Yeah, it's probably Instagram or Tumblr sometimes. 53. Where's your favourite place to take an out-of-town guest? So we're pretty nerdy, I would say. When I started university, I made a group of friends that played Dungeons and Dragons, and we all started playing that together. So, like, we will usually go to a gaming shop in town and just go around and look at things like that. Like, we'll go to Worlds Apart, look at board games. We'll go to Scythe and Teacup and look at, like, magic cards and all of that. So we will mostly go there. I usually like to take them to the Pyramid. I can't remember on what street it is. It might be St. James Street, which is rumoured to be haunted, because my dad used to take us on a lot of haunted tours at 12 o'clock at night when we were kids and tell us all these stories as we went around. So I would take them on those haunted walks. But yeah, that's normally where I'd take them. 54. What's your favourite subject in high school? So, what was it? I want to say art, probably. I really enjoyed art when I was in high school. I wasn't the best at English class, I want to say. I was good at writing stories, but I'm not good at writing essays. That's not my forte. Like, me and my sister are like bookends. Like, she can do essays and I can do the writing, and we mesh in the middle a little. So it's probably more art. I enjoy doing my art classes. 55. What's your least favourite subject in high school? Math. I couldn't do math. I still can't do math. Numbers just don't work. 56. What's your favourite TV show when you were a child? Depends on what age we're talking about. We used to love Little Bear, which is an animated little teddy bear that had teddy bear parents, and he'd go around with his friend Emily, and I can't remember much of it, but we used to watch that every evening at 6. As I was growing up, it was probably more so Scooby-Doo, and then obviously went more onto Disney Channel-y things as I grew up. 57. What do you love about your favourite show? I have no idea. I don't even know what my favourite show at the moment currently is. Well, we're watching Ghost Adventures at the moment, so maybe that's it. But it's hard to pick something that you really like about it. I don't really watch shows that are more so made up. I've watched something more factual at the minute. So I watch documentaries on Netflix, or we've been watching a lot of ghost hunting shows. And it's hard to say what you like about them when most of them are pretty negative things, and almost all of it is about people dying. So I'm not sure. 58. Are you scared of heights? Absolutely. 59. Are you high maintenance? Maybe. I'm not sure. Hopefully. I hope I'm not, but at the same time, I'm not certain. I wouldn't be able to answer that. Obviously, someone else would be able to answer that much better than I am. 60. Are you more inclined to build your own empire or unleash the potential of others? Probably to unleash the potential of others. I'm more so a pushover, like I will help and enable other people, and I'll like almost hide what I do under a bushel sometimes. So I'm probably more likely to help out others instead. 61. Are you more likely to avoid conflict or engage it head on? Avoid. I can't deal with conflict. It's not for me. 62. Are you a dog person or a cat person? I've never owned a cat. We have owned several dogs, so I'm a dog person. We had a dog called Shambles when we were little, who passed away when I was about 13. And she was a beautiful Labrador with fruit bat ears, we used to say. Then my dad got Alex, who was a King Charles Spaniel. And he was a lovely dog, really comforting. He'd lie on the bed with you and just chill. And then he passed away a couple of years ago, and now we've got Marley, who he likes snuggles, he just doesn't like being disturbed while he's asleep. He gets a little bit upset if you disturb him while he's asleep, but he's also a lovely little pup. So I'm a dog person. I mean, I'm more of a hamster person. I have a pet hamster, and Dusk is upstairs. He's about 1.5 years old now, and he's a little dwarf hamster, Russian dwarf. He's just living his life in a 6-foot cage, the best he can. 63. Are you a fan of any sports team? No, I wouldn't say I am. 64. Are you a good cook? Absolutely not. If you want beans on toast, I can probably do it. Toast might be burnt. If you want instant noodles, I can probably do that. Anything else, don't ask me for it. 100% don't recommend. 65. Are you an early adopter or a late adopter? I want to say early. I'm actually not too sure what that means, so we'll move on. 66. If you had more courage, what would you do differently in your life now? I'm not sure. Well, it's hard to say this year. Obviously, we've been stuck in lockdown, so you can't really go anywhere or do anything anyway. But, I mean, I probably would have spread my wings a bit more now. Probably would have flown other places if I wasn't scared of heights and aeroplanes. Probably would have long gone to America and seen all those places that I want to see. But it's just, I don't have the confidence to do that, and I'm too scared to do that. 67. What is good about how you're living your life right now? Getting to live with my mum. Getting to stay with her for as long as I possibly can. You know, makes memories, helps her out, we bond together. I mean, she's sat up all night watching Ghost Adventures with me, so I wouldn't trade it for the world. 69. Who's left the most impact on your life? There's been so many people I've listed tonight already that I've already said. Like, they've already left so much of an impact on my life. My sister, my mum, my dad, my granddad, my auntie. Like, there's so many people in my life, and I don't think I would be who I am without them today. 70. What aspect of your life needs tremendous improvement? Confidence. Definitely being able to, like, go out. Like, I'm not the kind of person I'm not very sociable. For a start, I need a better social life, but I'm too anxious to have it, and I'm more of a homebody. I don't like to be out with 50 people or talk. I don't like talking to people, so probably that part. 71. What's the weirdest thing you've seen in your life? I mean, I'm not too certain. My mum melted the butter before and it looks like mash, and that's probably the most disgusting thing I've seen all night. I can't remember anything else right now. 72. Who's the best teacher you've ever had? We had a teacher in primary school who I didn't understand wasn't appropriate to hide his glasses from him, but I thought it would be a good joke. And he took it really well. And he mentioned it at parents' evening about the fact that it was funny, and he thought that I was, like, confident with him for it, even though I definitely should not have done that. So him, probably Mr. Gargan, was a great teacher. 73. Who's the biggest pack rat you know? I mean, I'd say maybe I am. I'm not too certain. I'm pretty precious over everything. Like, I like to think, well, there's a memory attached to that, and I need to get over that thought, which is why the little room needs clearing out now. But hopefully I'll be able to let go of a lot of these old things that I've been holding on to. But at the same time, even in like D&D games, I'm usually the one that's got everything and hasn't gotten rid of anything. 74. Who's the first person you call when something exciting happens? When it's exciting, probably my sister. If I can't get a hold of my sister, it'd be my mum. But I like to share all of my good news with my sister first and foremost. Just because I like to be proud of myself, but I also don't like being proud of myself. So telling her usually is something that I can do, but not feel like I'm gloating to anybody else, and helps me a little bit more. 75. Who's the first person you call when something horrible happens? My mum. Absolutely my mum. She'll be the number one person to tell me to either pick myself up or dust myself off, or help me out in figuring out what I need to do next. So normally her. 76. Who's the worst boss you've ever had? I've only ever had one job in my life, so I'm not too certain. I don't really have an answer for that one. 77. Can you close your eyes and raise your eyebrows? Yep, definitely just did that. 78. Can you do a split? No, I can't. I can't do the splits, and I'm not even going to attempt that. Sounds painful. 79. Can you touch your nose with your tongue? Yes, I can. 78. Can you whistle? Can definitely whistle. 81. Can you dance? Well, I like to say it's like singing. Everyone can do it, but whether they should is a different question, and I definitely shouldn't dance. I have got zero rhythm, and you don't want to see it. 82. Do you remember your dreams? Sometimes. It obviously depends. The ones I don't remember, obviously I don't even know happened, so I wouldn't be able to answer on them. But there's a certain few that I remember either bits and pieces of or a lot of. Most of the time it's me going into a stationery shop, which is a really weird dream, and I normally wake up before I get to buy the items and actually open them, which really disappoints me. But yeah, obviously I remember them vividly enough. 83. Do you save old greeting cards and letters or throw them away? I tend to keep them. Obviously, I've just said I don't really throw things away, but I will keep them, and then after about a year, once the next occasion has come, I will then get rid of them. I like to keep them just in case, obviously, it's the last one I get from that person, so that's obviously a keepsake after that point. But obviously, if I get another one after that, then I don't need the other one from 4 years ago. There's no point. 84. Do you sing in the shower? Of course, who doesn't? Not usually in the shower, in the bathtub. The acoustics in our bathroom are great, so I will sing in the bathtub. In the shower, I'm normally concentrating on not slipping, so I tend to just be quick and get out. 85. Do you sleep with the lights on or off? On. Not the main light. I usually have either a lamp, the TV, or I've got a star projector, which is just really relaxing to watch when I fall asleep. So I'll usually have one of those three on. I can't be in the dark. I'm scared of the dark, even at 27. I'm not afraid to admit it. I watch enough ghost shows to know why. 86. Do you spell the colour as grey or grey? So one with an E or one with an A. Depends, really. I suppose it fluctuates. It depends. I think grey with an A would be a surname and grey with an E would be the colour, I want to say. But I'd normally double check that anyway. 87. Do you take any pills or medication daily? I'm supposed to take iron tablets. I keep forgetting to take them. I need to get better at taking them. But I've been anemic since I was about 15. So, yeah, I just need to get better at taking them again. And obviously once lockdown is finished, I'll be able to go for a blood test to double check if I'm anemic still. 88. Do you prefer kissing or cuddling? Cuddling, probably. 89. Do you prefer that people shoot straight with you or temper their words? I'd rather them just shoot straight with me. Just tell me it, done and dusted. I'd rather not be messed about. Like, it feels like it's just not getting to the point quick enough. Got better things to be doing with my time, to be honest. 90. Do you prefer Titanic or The Notebook? There's a long story of why I prefer the Titanic, and I'm not sure when it begins. I think at the age of about 8 or 9, my dad got me a documentary about the actual ship, not just the movie. And it was a Disney one with James Cameron. Went down to the actual Titanic. Ghosts of the Abyss. It was on Disney Life. I'm not sure if it's on Disney Plus anymore, but I was obsessed with that, so much so that every weekend my mum took me out to the Maritime Museum down in Liverpool here, and we saw the Titanic exhibition every single week and a new show, and we'd go into the archives for an hour afterwards, and we'd find a person from the ship and follow them around and see whether they survived or died and things. I was a very morbid child, obviously, so I've never seen The Notebook, but I'm obsessed with Titanic, and even though the movie is not historically accurate, and half of those characters don't really exist, like Jack and Rose don't exist, Molly Brown does, which is a beautiful story, by the way, and the unsinkable Molly Brown is great, so I prefer the Titanic. 91, do you have a catchphrase? I don't think so, I'm not sure. 92, do you have a garden? Not really, it's more of like a backyard, but we don't use it anyway. It's got Japanese knotweed, which is dangerous for dogs and stuff, so it's being sprayed and treated, and then we'll be able to use the backyard again. 93, do you have a hidden dream that you've never shared with anyone? No, I don't think it's hidden anyway. I'd like to become a teacher or a teaching assistant someday. I really like being able to help people out and see that reward almost straight away, so that's really what I'd like to do with my future. 94, do you have a tattoo? No, I don't. Scared of needles. Never would do it. 95, do you have a whole lot of acquaintances or just a few very close friends? Why? I've probably got a lot of acquaintances, only a few really close friends. I'm not a very talkative person. I'm pretty shy. I don't like making the first move. And I think I've been fortunate enough, like, because I'm so anxious, I don't like to text people back sometimes. I tend to lose a lot of friends because of that, so a lot of my friends understand that now and will meet me halfway or make the little bit more effort because they know or understand sometimes that I'm just not having a good day and I'm not texting them back that day, but some days I'll talk to them for 50 texts. So I have a lot of close friends that I do D&D with and understand that very well. 96, do you have any allergies? I'm allergic to stainless steel, which sounds a bit ridiculous. We learned from my watch strap when I was younger. It used to irritate the bottom of my arm and the top where the watch face was. So we used to have to coat it in nail varnish, which stunk once it had been on your skin for a while because it sweated. But basically I'd have a reaction to it being on me for a prolonged amount of time. So yeah, I'm allergic to stainless steel. 97, do you have any birthmarks? No, I don't. 98, do you have any pets? I've got Marley, who's my dad's dog and lives with my dad, and I look after sometimes. And Dusk, my hamster, who was up when I checked on him a minute ago, running in his wheel. 99. Do you hold any convictions that you would be willing to die for? I'm not too certain. Not any at the top of my brain, but at the same time, you know, it just depends. Times change. You get educated on other things. Obviously, there's a lot of political statements and things like that obviously you'd be willing to die for. But, like, personal ones, no. I don't really have any. 100. Do you carry a donor card? I don't think. I was meant to sign up for one, so I will have to do that just in case, because my sister has one, so I will ask her where I sign up for my one. 101. Do you have a best friend? If so, then who? My best friend's probably the guy that runs our Dungeons and Dragons games. I think he texts me every other day, so yeah, we hang out a lot normally when we're not in lockdown at the moment, and, you know, we look out for each other. So yeah. 102. Do you believe ignorance is bliss? Why or why not? Well, I would say it is, but, I mean, who'd want to be ignorant anyway? Like, obviously you want to be awake to the world, and unfortunately, the world isn't bliss. So, either you live in that, and you're just ignorant to it all, or you're not. 103. Do you believe in love at first sight? No. I think it takes a lot of hard work and effort. 104. Who performs the most random acts of kindness out of everyone you know? I'm not too certain. I think everyone has got that in them and does that as much as possible. And everyone does it in their own individual way sometimes. So sometimes just getting a text to see if I'm okay is an act of kindness, and it's nice to have that. So I wouldn't be able to pick a specific person. 105. Who sent the last text message you received? So my last text message is my sister sending me socks that she'd knitted for her boyfriend. So that is my last text message that I received. 106. Who was the last person you ate dinner with? My mum and I had beans on toast, I think about 4 a.m. So that's the last person. 107. Who was your first boyfriend or girlfriend? A guy that I went to university with was my first boyfriend. Obviously, I'm not going to name names. Who was your first celebrity crush? I don't know. It's hard to say. I genuinely don't know. I mean, Shamar Moore was a phase, but I'm not sure that was the first. Probably like Zack and Cody on Disney Channel. Like, I genuinely wouldn't be able to tell you otherwise. 109. Who was your first friend in college? Calvin. 110. Who would tell you first if they found a dead body in your garden? Oh, who would you tell first if you found a dead body in your garden? The police? Obviously my mum, because she lives with me. So, obviously the first instinct would be, Mum, there's a body in the garden. Thankfully, I hope there isn't one anyway. 111. What is your idea of special time together? Depends. It's different with every single person. Like, obviously, me and my sister will play video games or sit and craft. Me and my mum sit together and watch ghost hunting shows. My dad and I will bond in the car on long drives down to London together. My best friend and I will play D&D together. It depends on the person. 112. What's your most embarrassing moment? I think there's a lot. I mean, one time I decided I wanted a pet rabbit and I looked up buy rabbits in Liverpool. Don't recommend anyone to do that. Obviously, I did not know that a rabbit was an adult item while I was a teenager, and guess what I found? Everyone thought it was hilarious, by the way. 113. What's your most used swear word? I mean, hell is probably the one I say the most frequently. It's hard to say. I don't really swear, especially not like around the house and stuff. And obviously I've been in the house so often that it definitely doesn't happen. So probably hell is the most used. 114. What's your star sign? I am a Virgo. So, yeah. 115. What's something that amazes you? I mean, a lot of things. Everything's pretty baffling sometimes in the world. I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't tell you one specific thing. I mean, the first thing that pops into my head is how does an aeroplane fly? But I can probably Google that and find out the answer. I once found out why the sky was blue. That was a really interesting thing. So I recommend looking that up if you want to know. 116. What's an ideal first date? I like museums. I like coffee shops. I like a D&D game. So, yeah, just either playing a game and relaxing or going and taking in some history. 117. What's at the top of your bucket list? In the top of my bucket list, oh my goodness, what's the top of my bucket list? I mean, I don't have many things on my bucket list. Obviously, owning a house is probably one, but I'm never going to have the money to own a house because I've got student debt. Having a family one day, but I'm 27 and I'm not there yet. Probably be a lot of dogs instead. Maybe... I'm not certain. Getting back to Edinburgh is a good goal. Going to the Titanic Museum is one that I want to do. It's in Belfast. We were supposed to go this year again, but obviously lockdown happened, so July got called off, so maybe in the next year or two we'll get to finally go and see that. 118. What's something you look for in a partner? Honesty. I don't want someone who's going to lie. I want someone just to be straight up and honest. Doesn't matter. 119. What is the name of your first pet? So our first family pet was a dog called Shambles, who my dad named. I was just born when we got her, literally the day I got her, because my sister complained she didn't want a sister. She wanted a dog, so they got me and a dog to please her. The first pet I ever named was Brownie, who was a hamster. He turned grey and I got really upset and decided that he should have been called Grey, but I was about 5. So, yeah, that's about it. 120. What scares you about aging? I mean, dying, probably. Who isn't scared of that? It's a bit of a morbid question, but okay. 121. How difficult is it for you to be honest, even when your words may be hurtful or unpopular? I mean, pretty hard, but at the same time, I know you've got to do it. So I know you've got to be honest, because otherwise people aren't going to know. So sometimes you've just got to speak out. And hopefully you can do it in a more gentle and helpful way, like constructive, but it really depends. 122. How difficult is it for you to forgive someone who refuses to apologise? To be fair, I probably wouldn't forgive them. I can hold a grudge for as long as I want to. So, probably pretty difficult. 123. How far away from your birthplace do you live now? I'm still in Liverpool. 124. How has your birth order / characteristics of siblings affected you? Well, like I said, she's 5 years older than me, so my sister has done everything first. She went to uni first, she got a master's first, she's been published first, like, she's done all of these big feats, and getting to see her do all of them has just inspired me to do the same, really. Like, it's inspired me to be like her and have those right footfalls so that I can make myself go as far as she will. I know she will one day, so yeah. 125. How many boyfriends or girlfriends have you had? 1. 126. How many countries have you been to? I'm not sure if Scotland counts as a country. I know it's part of the UK, so the UK is the country. So probably just 2, the UK and Italy is as far as I've been. 127. How many oceans have you swum in? None. I'm not even sure I've swum in an ocean in the UK. No, sharks. That's their territory. I belong on land. They belong in sea. That is fine by me. I will not go into it. You're just asking for trouble. 128. How many pairs of shoes do you currently own? 2 boots. A pair of Converse. Can't be that many. I usually just stick to wearing my boots because of my plantar fasciitis. I have an extra step in my foot to try and help me angle my foot right so I'm not walking on it wrong. So the boots are usually the best thing to help with that, and obviously help encompass my ankle and stuff. So I know I've got 2 pairs of boots and 1 pair of Converse, but I think I have 1 pair of just flats with bows, so probably 4 pairs. 129. How many relationships have you been in? Just answered that one. 130. How many rings before you answer the phone? How many rings does your phone do? More so, how many rings before you let your phone go to voicemail and then text them back to see what they wanted is more so what I will do. Definitely what I do in my life. 132. How old do you think you'll be when you get married? At my rate, probably 70. I honestly would not be able to answer that. Hopefully it would be sooner, but I've got no goal for it and just doesn't really matter at the moment. 133. How old were you when you found out that Santa wasn't real? Wait, he isn't? That's as far as I'm leaving that. 134. How old were you when you learned how to ride a bike? I think I must have been about 5 or 6, but I honestly can't remember and no one's here for me to ask at the moment. I think I must have been 5 or 6, maybe 7, but yeah. 135. In which store would you choose to max out your credit card? Does Diamond Art Club count? Because they have got all my money this year and they will have all my money next year. 136. Would you ever consider living abroad? Depends on where it is. Italy was beautiful. It was hot though, and I wasn't very keen on that. So it really depends. Obviously, I'd never move to Australia. The spiders are massive and I don't like snakes. I've got a terrible fear of snakes and I've never met one. But I like the UK. I think if I moved anywhere, it would just be down to Scotland. 137. How many days could you last in solitary confinement? I'd like to say a lot. However, I've also noticed that obviously I've got to spend time with my mum, so I couldn't really judge that. Like, I usually would get my social quota from talking to her. I want to say I'm like a hobbit, so I think I'd last a while. As long as I had a diamond painting and just a YouTube video, I'd just be perfectly fine on my own. 138. Have you forgiven yourself for past personal failures? Why or why not? No. I'm a highly anxious person. I'm a Virgo. I cling on to those things and I will never be able to let them go, and I know I won't be able to let them go. They are there to serve as an embarrassing reminder for the rest of my life, essentially. And it's just going to be the way it is. I've learned to accept that. 139. Have you ever suffered a fracture? I've broken my collarbone and I fractured my toe once without knowing it. So about a month later, when it was still in pain, I then went to the walk-in centre and the woman was like, oh yeah, you fractured your toe. And I was like, oh, what can we do now? And she was like, there's nothing we can do now. So I fractured my toe once and I think I did it again in lockdown, but we have not been to a medical doctor about that. I caught it on the banister and snapped it back. So yeah, probably once or twice. 140. Have you dated two people at the same time? Consider I've only dated one person. Not really possible. 141. Have you been in a beauty pageant? No. 142. Have you ridden on a motorbike? No. 143. Have you ever taken self-defense lessons? No, I haven't. It was mentioned to us once to go and do it, but I don't think we ever got around to it. It's definitely something we should think about doing, but at the same time, I also really like my Tai Chi, so we'll see. 144. Have you ever visited a country outside of your continent? Yep, so Italy. Well, no, Italy's Europe. No, I haven't. No, never been anywhere else. 145. Have you ever won a trophy or an award? What's it for? Well, the thing is, with our schooling system, it's all based on getting awards for doing things. So awards for being very well behaved, awards for being punctual, awards for being on 100% attendance. So yeah, I've gotten several of those, really. Or like being good at science and getting a good test score. Like, it's endless. I couldn't even tell you all of them. 146. Have you read any of the Harry Potter, Hunger Games or Twilight series? Which one's your favourite? I'm going to say Harry Potter. I haven't fully read them. I stopped at book 4. Goblet of Fire was my favourite, and then I gave up because they got too long and a bit convoluted and it just wasn't for me. But I'm still a Ravenclaw, and Harry Potter is the one thing I've read out of those 3, at least. So that's the winner. 147. At what age did you go on your first date? I think I was about 20. 148, or was that 4? Yeah, it's 148, this one. After a breakup, would you rather be alone or surrounded by friends? I mean, I'd rather be alone on any day anyway. So, I'd rather just be alone anyway. 149. What female celebrity do you wish was your sister? Is it really bad that I'm thinking of a Kardashian? Because I think that would just be, like, every day would be a surprise. Like, you would never know what is coming, and I think that would just be, 1, chaotic, but also 2, like, just a new turn every day sounds really refreshing. Like, my sister and I used to binge watch the Kardashians just because it was so, like, you couldn't look away from it, and I think that would just be great. 150. What flavour of tea do you enjoy? I am straightforward, just English breakfast tea, 2 sweetener tablets and a bit of milk, and 2 tea bags because I like it really strong. Okay, so I've got up next a craft tag. So let's just answer 10 crafting questions. Question 1, what's your crafting focus? So obviously my focus is diamond painting, That's what I like to do. It's what I enjoy doing. It's what I find I can do. I struggled a lot with finding a craft hobby that I could, like, that I mentally would let myself do. Like, even miniatures and things, I sometimes will put myself down if one piece goes wrong. Whereas diamond painting, usually it always goes okay anyway. Like, sometimes if it looks bad, it's just easy enough to say, but the drills are too big, and you can just pass it off and it doesn't matter. So my crafting focus is on diamond painting because it's easy. I enjoy doing it, and it is something that consumes my entire mindset when I'm doing it. So it'll give me a break from anything else that I was thinking or worrying about, which is what I like to do. Obviously, they're not all easy. Some of them are so confetti heavy that it's a nightmare for me. I'd rather be able to multi-place large sections of colour and have a little bit of, like, confetti. But it is what it is, and I've got a lot of very big ones up the stairs to tackle my way through. Question 2, what craft are you really horrible at? I want to say knitting. I'm not confident in it. I'm worried about having to get to it. But once lockdown's over, I'll be able to meet up with my sister and she'll be able to help me out a bit and learn how to knit again. I physically can't even remember how I cast on anymore. So I'm going to have to get better at that. I'm also not the greatest at cross stitch. I like to cross stitch. It's one of the easier ones that I can physically do, but I know it's very noticeable when I make a mistake, which will often put me down because I get into the mentality of, well, everyone's going to see that one little bit where it's tied off wrong. One I'm obviously completely horrible at is embroidery. Haven't tried it, don't want to try it, physically don't think I can do it. We accidentally bought some embroidery kits for Christmas. They went straight back to Amazon because, no, not for me. Question 3. What's the first ever craft project you remember making? I mean, the first ever one I remember doing is a little ladybug we'd bought from a local craft store in Liverpool, Abercan. It was literally just, like, must have been about 10 by 10 little ladybug, count along. Couldn't do it. The counting was horrible for me. I've since discovered Pattern Keeper, which is on my tablet, which helps immensely with me keeping track of my stitches and not dropping them and messing them up. I mean, I still do it, but at the same time, I catch it a lot quicker because of that. But the first one I remember doing is a little ladybug cross stitch. 4. What's the oldest thing in your craft supply stash? I think probably my oldest diamond painting specifically is either I've got one of Meg from Hercules that I haven't done yet. It's been there for quite a while. I've just finished the Alice in Wonderland one, so obviously Meg is coming up next on my list to get through, so I can just pass it off. It's probably a copyrighted image. It was bought a couple of years ago. Obviously that wasn't really a thing I was aware of then, so I just want to get it over and done with and out of my way. I've also got a lot of little small ones I do in the office, specifically that are Disney ones that are, I assume, going to be obviously copywritten images, so just get them over and done with so they're out of the way and I don't have to worry about them anymore. But yeah, they're, I think, the 2 biggest things that have been left in my craft supply is the Meg from Hercules and some of the little Disney pictures. I think I've got Alice in Wonderland and Iron Man left to do on those ones specifically. Not sure about anything else craft-wise. 5. What's the weirdest thing in your craft supply stash? I mean, the one that my sister and my mum and my sister have gotten into doing some diamond painting, and my aunt has gotten into it. And for Christmas, I'd given my sister like a diamond painting kit to go with a new Anastasia painting I bought from Diamond Art Club. That I've got like one for her and one for me, so we can do it together while we watch the movie because it's our favourite thing. I bought like a tea strainer, you know, like one that clamps open and close with really small holes, so that if the drills were oily or anything was wrong with them, you could put them in and rinse them underwater. So I've bought that, and I don't think anyone's got a clue what it's for. I think I'm the only one that understands what I mean by washing your drills. So hopefully once lockdown's over, I can clear that up and help them out. But yeah, I think that might be the weirdest thing in my supplies box at the moment. 6. What's the thing you've used for the widest variety of projects? I mean, it's going to sound really dumb, but I got a ruler for Christmas to do the grids on my cross stitch, and I have used it across everything. It was used to mark like the opaque sheets on my diamond painting. It's been used to help me measure things out on my miniatures, and obviously it's going to be used for cross stitch. So to be fair, that's probably the one, like, most universal thing, that or tweezers. Obviously tweezers have been used between diamond painting and between doing miniatures, because you can pick up like the tiny little pieces, but I usually would use the cheaper metal tweezers for that. My expensive ones are purely for my diamond paintings, and I haven't used them for a while, so I need to get back into using some of my metal tweezers for my diamond paintings. Number 7, what's your craft store guilty pleasure? I mean, a physical craft store, I haven't been to one for quite a while. My sister went to Abercan a few weeks ago, obviously to get up like some knitting stuff for me for Christmas and stuff. So the one, like, I'd always go in and I would always come up with a cross stitch kit. I would usually always come out with a set of needles, a ball of wool, and a little cross stitch that I could do. I'd usually get to making like the tiniest little bit on knitting, and then I'd give up, and then I'd try and do my cross stitch. But normally if I go into a craft store, I have to come up with a cross stitch. And now that there's printed on cross stitches, like, my sister said they've existed for a while, but I don't know why they let me struggle for so long when I was a child with counting them, if there was one that could be printed on. So yeah, apparently they've existed all this time and I just didn't know. So I've got 3 upstairs that I got for Christmas to do. I got 101 Dalmatians one, a Hogwarts castle one with Harry, Ron and Hermione looking at the castle with Hagrid, and my sister got me a fox one from the shop the other day. So they're the ones I've got. They're all Sunday Joy ones, or Joy Sunday, whichever way you say it. So I probably always come up with a cross stitch from the craft store anyway. 8, if you were a superhero crafter, what would your superhero crafting power and name be? I don't think I'd have a name. I just want the ability to make a diamond painting done. And I know that sounds really bad. Obviously, half of the love is in the process of it. But sometimes I've got a lot of customs. Like, I've just done a custom for my cousin of my beautiful godson and his 2 dogs. Now they've got a 3rd dog in the time it took me to make that one painting. So just the superpower to be able to finish that, like, fast. So it would have been done in faster than 2 years. Would have been great. And I've got another one upstairs that I've still got to do, and I've done one for my dad a couple of years ago of our other dog that just passed away, Alex. So I think something that would either that or take away the confetti. I don't know what superpower that would be. I don't know what you would call it, but I'm not a fan of confetti. I have learned through all of this. Number 9, where do you go for crafting inspiration? I mean, it depends really. YouTube is obviously the biggest influencer. Without YouTube, I wouldn't have discovered half of the stuff I have discovered. It made me fall in love with cross-stitching again, which then took me to Etsy. It's made me find, obviously, all the wonderful YouTubers for diamond painting, which has obviously shown me Diamond Art Club, where I fell in love with my Randal Spanglers. So, obviously, I think the biggest inspiration is YouTube and YouTubers. 10, what's your current project? You're watching it right now, and I'm still working on my Randal Spangler Flight of the Fireflies diamond painting. So obviously that's the end of my crafters tag and the end of my 150 questions I've just done. I found one of them online and one on a video, so I will put a link below. If you take part, do let me know so I can always come over and watch your video or listen to your answers, even if you just write them in the comments for me. It would be lovely to hear them. And please make sure you keep safe out there, and please let me know how you're all doing. I haven't left the house since the 13th of March when I got sent home from work in order to keep my mum safe. So it still feels like I'm in March. It's been a whole year and it feels like March the 30 millionth. We have not left. So it'd be great to know how everyone else is doing and, you know, maybe build up a bit of a community of anyone else who's stuck shielding in the house and doesn't have much else to do really. it's nice to get back to crafting because of that. I'd like to say a big thank you to Miss Crochet and Coffee, obviously, for putting this whip and chat challenge out. I'm not sure I would have ever had the guts to do a whip and chat before this. Obviously, all my videos are more so time lapses. It's so I can always look back and see, you know, the progress that went into making a painting. I feel like it's really nice after I've had the experience of making it to be able to always go back and see it again. Obviously, I'm never going to be able to do my first Randal Spangler painting again. I've done it, that is it. This will be it. So it would be nice to be able to watch it again and again and again and to capture that for everybody else. And also don't hesitate to leave me a comment down below of what painting you think I should do next. I will either put a picture up at the end or leave a list down below so you can see all of the Diamond Art Club canvases I've got to still work on. I've got some others obviously, but they are probably copyrighted images. It's a lot of complex matters. They will not be going up on YouTube. There might be a photo on Instagram, but that's about as far as it will ever go. But I keep them for bedroom paintings anyway, and I will always do a downstairs one, which is probably a Diamond Art Club out of the many I have. It's probably going to be another Randal Spangler. I own every single Randal Spangler. I'm still waiting for Cookies and Classics to arrive, and I'm waiting on the beautiful Sleeping Princess by Mandy Manzano, my obviously favourite princess's Sleeping Beauty. So I had to have that one that came back in stock. But let me know down below which one you would like to see me do next. And please make sure you keep them safe out there. Make sure you leave a like, give me a comment, and subscribe if you want to see more from me. And it'll be nice to see you around again. Thank you for watching.